everyone, and welcome to Best of 4. Joining me, as always, is Julian, Steve, and Lerone, and I am your host, Jake.
Not as always.
As always. Yeah, I guess I should introduce our guest, Steve. He will be doing our main topic, our first guest main topic of the week, so we'll be talking about how to fix Octopath travelers, so look forward to that. But first, the news. How Fortnite's success led to months of intense crunch at Epic Games. Basically, the kind of crap we heard about for oh crap, what's the name?
EA, BioWare.
Yeah, BioWare. What was the latest BioWare game?
Anthem.
Yeah, it was Anthem.
Oh my god.
No, it's because the game started as something else and a different name and all that shit. Anyway.
Beyond.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, now we're seeing a similar story about Epic Games and the Fortnite staff, how they were pulling 70 to 100-hour work weeks in a stressful and hostile working environment in which working overtime, while officially voluntary, was an expected service to the company.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Why do you think game development, this problem with software development, and working overtime, is only a problem with game development?
I mean, I don't think it's definitely not only a problem with game development, but game development is more pervasive. And I think the main reason is, and this is just compared to other software, games are usually announced far ahead of their release, make promises ahead of release, and set specific launch dates in a way that most software doesn't do that. How often do you hear a company announce a new piece of software before it's going to be released, give a release date for years in the future, and then have to deliver every feature? That's the other thing about most software is you can have a few features missing and it's fine, then you just do updates over time. A game, you can't just have chunks of the story missing, right? You have to finish it, at least to some degree. There's DLC and whatnot, but
Right.
to some level, the game actually has to be done to be released. Whereas with most software, that's not really true. If a feature doesn't make the cut, a feature doesn't make the cut. So it is different than a lot of software.
So
in that regard,
is this article about the zombie apocalypse version of Fortnite, like it originally started as, or the free-to-play version that we all know now? What were they crunching for?
I mean, this is basically the whole process. I mean,
because the game started out as a paid game.
Here, I'll read this quote in the article.
Zombie apocalypse thing.
The executives kept reacting and changing things, said the source. Everything has to be done immediately. We're not allowed to spend time on anything. If something breaks, a weapon say that, then we can't just turn it off and fix it with the next patch. Yeah, so to answer your question, I think it just sounds like it's everything, what Jake said. How the game started off as a zombie apocalypse stuff, and they have to change it to be what we know now.
Well, it didn't really change it. They just added it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't play Fortnite, so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when they did add it.
Yeah, and it seems like it was mostly a big response to PUBG.
No, well, GG.
Which also probably led to a lot of crunch because PUBG, kind of beat them to the punch, and it was doing really well. And Epic's like, uh-oh.
We should get on that.
We need to push this hard. Supposedly Battle Royale had already been being tested in Fortnite, but they didn't expect how successful PUBG would be. And
okay, so it was the crunch for the Battle Royale and not the.
And that's where apparently it became really bad.
Okay.
Where so bad where getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement.
Jesus.
I work an average of 70 hours a week. At least 50 or so other people at Epic working these offers. I know people who pull 100 hours a week. 100 hours a week.
So you just
the company gives us unlimited time off, but it's almost impossible to take it.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's how they hire you, and then you get there and you get bodied.
Yeah, because he's also said, like, if you do manage to get time off, the workload just falls onto other people, and no one wants to be that guy. Because, like, they don't, like, reduce the work. They just say, okay, now you guys have to pick up his slack because he's gone.
Sounds awful.
What can be done to fix
and also, this has been ongoing. Even after it's been released, this has still been a major, major problem. Because of all the patches and stuff. Yeah, the executives are focused on keeping Fortnite popular for as long as possible.
Yeah, they just announced the crossover with Avengers, right? For Fortnite.
They've already done that.
Yeah, but they're like doing it again for Endgame.
I'm sure they are. Are they adding Thanos again?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I know they're basically making Fortnite into every single game you could possibly think of. They're adding everything into it. Last I saw, there were like planes, and you can like Minecraft now, and I don't even know. It's literally everything. They're gonna add Wii Sports in there at some point, I'm sure.
Wii Sports.
Sure, you'll be able to like bowl and go golfing. I don't know. It's just gonna be a life simulator.
You eventually become Fortnite.
Yeah. With how much money you probably dump into it, yeah, you probably do become Fortnite.
Whoa. I know some people who refused to work weekends, and then when we missed a deadline because their part of the package wasn't completed, they were fired.
Yikes.
People are losing their jobs because they don't want to work these insane hours.
So they lost their job because they decided to take their
deserved day off on weekends. That which shouldn't be considered time off.
Yeah, those are just like standard, like, hey,
you're
not working. That's insane.
If I got to the end of an 8-hour workday and I turned to my supervisor to ask if I needed to stay on, they'd often look at me as if I was actively stupid.
Yeah, I read that.
Sounds like they need to unionize.
That is toxic.
That's just
right.
Not support Epic. Like, I needed one in the first place, but...
I mean, it's not just Epic. It's a problem with AAA game.
I know, but we're talking
it's a problem with all game companies.
Yeah, we're talking about Epic right now, so...
Man, what can be done to change this?
One senior guy said, just get more bodies. That's what the contractors were called. Bodies.
Yikes.
And then when we're done with them, we can dispose of them and be replaced with fresh people who don't have the toxic nature of being disgruntled.
That's basically what my old job was.
That's what contract work is.
Yeah.
That is a big part of the cancer. Is also like big game companies, for game development, usually you do bring on a big team of contractors to work on a game, since games are kind of one and done things, whereas software is usually a longer term continuous thing.
Even with like games as a service, you could just hire contractors to get it out the door.
Yeah, I think we should try tackling this as a main topic in the coming weeks. I might try to do this.
You can lead it as a main topic.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah, so I'll table this discussion for now. There's still a lot of stuff in this article worth bringing up, but I think I want to make this a real topic. So we will table it for now and move on to Persona 5 Royale and Persona... What was the other thing? Scramble. Persona 5 Scramble.
Poor beggar's body.
Okay, yeah, so what Laron's talking about is that, so Atlas, the company that makes Persona, they announced that there's going to be something called Persona 5S.
And y'all thought it meant Switch.
Yeah, everyone assumed, Persona 5 Switch, because, Joker's coming to Smash. Little did we know, Persona 5S is going to be a Musou-style Persona game. It's coming to Switch, but it isn't a Persona 5 port. It's a spinoff. So, yeah.
I'll take it.
I'm surprised you didn't, scream when you saw that. Don't you love Dynasty Warriors? And, Persona's you love Persona too. Hit or miss.
Like DW9 was trash.
You were slurping Hyrule Warriors, so...
That's a good game.
No, shut up. He's never played that game in his...
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I've never played Dynasty Warriors 9.
Mm.
You gonna tell me that's a good game?
Why? What do you like about Hyrule Warriors so much?
It's a Musu game. A good, I mean, my bad. It's a good Musu game, and it's Zelda at the end.
Okay.
It's one of the good ones.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Persona 5 Royale. What on earth is this?
It's just a the complete version of Persona 5 with the new character.
Got it.
I got from it. Yeah.
Got it.
It adds a lot.
Oh, there's more. Oh, Joker can.
And not on Switch. Lol.
Yeah, it is on Switch. Yeah, that's the funny part.
Like, it's almost like a somewhat different story. Almost.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay. Sounds like that's all we gotta say on that. Commodore 64 port of Super Mario Bros. Shows up and gets taken down. So.
Wait, what?
What?
It got taken down?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it got
By
taken.
Nintendo?
Yes, a DMCA takedown notice from Nintendo.
Why? It's the Commodore 64. Who cares?
And it's Super Mario. It's serious. It's a little bit of a strange takedown, but you know, Nintendo. But yeah, I don't know why this exists. I mean, I like it that the project exists. It's just like kind of funny to me.
Why did it take them 7 years?
I mean, I'm assuming it was just like I'm sure that it's just 7 years from when the project started to like when the project finally finished versus like actually 7 years of continuous work. It was also made by one person, so it was done by one person in his free time occasionally.
That makes more sense.
And it's an impressive technical feat, that's for sure. Is the Commodore 64? Wait, is it more or less powerful than the NES?
Less?
This article doesn't say a whole lot about it, but yeah. I don't know what's more pointless. Someone making Super Mario Bros. On Commodore 64 or Nintendo caring enough to take it down.
Is that like the top comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. Anyway, the more interesting topic here. Epic Store will stop exclusives if Steam changes revenue split, according to Epic CEO Tim Sweeney.
Okay, Steve, here you go. Time to rage. This is all you.
Why would I be raging?
Whoa.
I mean, that's a good thing. I want him to stop exclusives.
But he's not going to unless Steam changes their revenue to like developers.
Steam needs to get off their fucking ass.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney very specifically said, if Steam committed to a permanent 88% revenue share for all developers and publishers without major strings attached, Epic would hastily organize a retreat from exclusives, while of course honoring our current partner commitments, and consider putting our own games on Steam.
That just sounds like...
So he claims to care about
developers.
It sounds like...
That's where Epic is trying to place themselves in this.
He's the devs champion now? What's going on?
So
that's apparently the goal.
They went from, like, heavily anti-consumer to, like, trying to win the consumer back by saying, hey...
Consumer? They're trying to win the developers back.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with consumers.
We talk about winning the developers back. They have the developers.
I think they're more trying to be the hero for the developers.
Yeah.
But they were never the villain. I'm talking about... Because Epic has always been against us. Because they don't care about what we want. Like, they could have always... sure, they're the hero for the developers. I never said they weren't. But making exclusives in the first place by just buying them out is saying, hey, I have to use your platform and not Steam's. From games that originally advertised to be on Steam. so it's anti-consumer. And now they're saying, well,
That-
they're trying to win.
That
They're
is
trying to win people.
That is not what anti. Anyway,
It actually is anti-consumer. How is it not anti-consumer?
because how come it wasn't anti-consumer when games were exclusive to Steam? Steam's been doing exclusive releases for years, and no
Like
one
what?
cared until Epic started doing it.
Name games.
PC games, there's a lot that have been released exclusively on Steam at first. Usually they're only a week or two.
But like, where else would you get them? The Microsoft Store?
So if they have a monopoly, it's okay. I'm just
I didn't. Say
I'm just
it
a
was.
little surprised by like people being upset about, and also like in console gaming, it's like always
That's
been a thing.
different.
But like this, this is so much less. Like it's literally like you just have to download a different piece of software. Like it is
highly
so low resistance.
It's highly inferior software. First of all. Second of all, I'm not for Monopoly at all. But the only other thing was like
This
the
is
Microsoft Store, and they just started putting games on there from the Xbox like recently, like the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So they've only been starting to do that, and they have exclusives on theirs because it's their games. It's their Xbox games, which is fine. They're even starting to bring them over to Steam.
Yeah.
Epic is just like, hey, fuck you, and just stole them. That's all they're doing. If they wanted to sell it on their platform with the split they want to do and not take away from Steam, that'd be fine. I probably would even support them. But they're just like, hey, fuck all you who want to use Steam. We're not letting you.
That also, the funny thing there is there's actually some evidence to suggest that some of the devs who have done exclusive releases on Epic did it under their own accord because of the revenue split.
Yeah, which is fine.
So at that point, I mean, they're by having a better platform for the developer.
I just don't like the fact that they're still stealing away. Like, these are games we've known about and have been announced for Steam at big like conferences that we all thought were going to be on Steam, and then they're not. Borderlands 3, to that monstrosity what they did with Metro.
But how is this Epic's fault?
Because they're handing them a bag full of cash and saying, hey, we're going to buy you out exclusively. It's not just the
And
split.
because that
Bag
works,
full of cash.
that's how competition is. I mean, you can call the dev scum for
Well,
like
I'm sure the devs
doing
are
it.
fine, but they're not the ones who decide on that anyway. It's the publishers who
Well,
decide.
yeah,
And
the
I'm
publisher.
not happy with the publishers either.
hey,
Yeah, I could hand you like a bag full of crack and give you money with it. You don't have to say yes.
What?
yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying the publishers are at fault, not Epic.
It's both. I could also not just offer you in the first place.
You could, but
I
if
could-
you're trying to grow your platform,
Yeah, they're trying to grow it. They have the money to grow it in a healthy way. This is not the healthy way. This is saying we're going to steal all of your customers first instead of making the platform good. Because the platform right now sucks. There's nothing good about it.
takes
Besides the
capital to do that.
Shut up with your capital. They have capital. If they're buying out games, they have the capital to just make the platform good.
Well,
They have
but they're giving money to these publishers, but I'm assuming they're making more after the fact. Like they're spending money, but they're making more money out of the deals.
we would have to. I'm sure they are. I don't know how much money they're pocketing over to the publishers, because I know they're giving them bags full of money. I just don't know how much. So I'm sure they've done math and it works out that way. But they could, for the consumer's sake, just make the platform better, so that maybe we want to use the platform and then support the devs in a healthy way instead of feeling like we're forced to.
Yeah, that would be nice.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. It takes time to get there. And in the meantime, I am 100% in favor of Steam having actual
you also don't want any of these
competition.
games, so it like does nothing against you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you weren't like waiting for actually all 3 of these games to come out on Steam so you could buy them and then say, hey, lol, you have to play them on this shitty version of Steam. We're gonna make you use the Epic Store.
I mean, okay, really, it's like for purchasing a game, it works fine, and for clicking the play button, it launches the game. I mean, like, for just playing video games, the platform, like, it's lacking a lot of features that Steam is, but it does what you want it to do for playing a video game just fine.
It's also
I think I
lacking
use
basic
the Epic
features.
launcher for numerous games, and it's fine. It works.
It's also lacking basic features of like a card.
I don't
unless
want
they
to
added
put
that.
my credit card on there.
Well, yeah, okay. Is there or isn't there a security issue with the Epic Store? Because I hear like 2 different things.
I mean, there was that spyware incident, which is questionable. But like, as far as like, I haven't heard any problems with their payment processing or anything like that.
I don't think you can know for sure.
They were just spying on Steam users.
I mean, you can't know that about. I mean, Valve's had numerous enormous security leaks and credit card information, and like they're like anyone else.
Yeah,
They're-
everyone has the problems, I guess, but
And Epic, I don't think Epic acts as their own payment processor either. I think they use a third party that's used by a lot of people.
no, I think they just started doing that, or they're opening up that. They haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I don't think. I was watching some UK video about that. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. So far, all the games I've gotten from them are free. So.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
You guys were
What was the
debating.
article No, what was the article about?
Oh, the article. Yeah,
Sony
Epic
is,
Store.
the champion of the code.
Yeah,
and publishers.
they're saying they'll stop the exclusives if Steam just changes their policy.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Steam should get off their ass and just do it. Save the games and get everyone's goodwill back.
Yeah, Sweeney said that the number one when they asked developers, their number one issue with Steam by far is the 30% cut.
Yeah, if Steam fully decides to get off their ass, I will forget like any of this even happened. I probably won't forget, but I will be so happy because that means I have my choice back. Like, if Epic wants to make their launcher better, maybe I will move over there. But right now, it's inferior, so I'm gonna stick with Steam. But I want that choice, and I don't have that choice right now, which is anti-consumer when you don't have your choice.
Rico says we're doing the thing that we hate.
All
Negative
exclusives are anti-consumer, but like when you own them, it's fine. Like when you have a PS3 exclusive, it's because they own that property.
That's
Epic
there's lots. Wait, whoa! There's lots of console exclusives that are not like made by Sony or made by Microsoft or made by Nintendo.
Bayonetta 2, for example.
Bayonetta 2 is a good example. Or
I didn't play that.
what about Bloodborne? PS4 exclusive, not made by Sony. that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Wait, that's not exclusive, is it?
Yeah,
Bloodborne's exclusive.
Bloodborne's
to PS4,
exclusive to the PlayStation.
Oh, got him.
along with Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, there's actually it's pretty common.
Street Fighter's on PC, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, it was on PC as well.
I have no idea. I don't play those games. Okay, fine. So I'm ignorant for a lot of games I don't play. But I don't agree with those then either.
Yeah. And Rico, to your point, like it's not so more that like other companies messed up so Epic can do it. It's more that Epic hasn't done anything bad yet. People just like there's a lot of what if Epic fucks up in this way. But like the risk of that is no different on Epic than anyone else.
Okay,
is all I was
done
suggesting.
Their store is lacking a lot of features. Like they don't have.
No. Yeah, they're lacking a lot of features. I'm just saying for things like security problems and stuff like that.
Oh.
Like they haven't been shown to have done anything wrong yet, or payment processing, or anything like that.
Honestly, maybe if they just added cloud saves, I'd be fine with that too. They don't even have cloud saves, so
Yeah.
give me cloud saves and I might actually do it. But
Also, Bayonetta 2 is a different example, but I'm not going to go into that right now since we brought it up.
But no, I'm so happy to hear this news. Like this article, I have nothing. The only reason I was ranting was for past shit. This is amazing. Like if Steam doesn't do this,
They're probably not. I mean,
They
it's
probably
like
aren't.
can
it's
they
like
afford
Epic,
to? I like really
I
wonder
don't
about
know.
that.
Epic like did all this like nonsense just to get everyone on their side for when they announced this. Because now all the weight used to be on Epic, they shifted everything over to Steam. They're like, "This is your problem now."
And
Like,
the thing
shit,
is,
good-
this
good luck.
is good for them in a lot of
Yeah.
ways because
Yeah.
Steam probably can't do this, or at least not quickly. Like, you're going from 30% to 12%. I mean, think about that's an enormous revenue cut
Yeah,
for
They can't.
Valve.
they probably can't do it as fast as they definitely can't do it as fast as people like me would want them to. So they're gonna lose a lot of faith. Epic is fucking them over so hard.
This is good business tactics right here.
Steam has to respond with something because they've been so quiet recently. Mostly, they've said bits in here and there.
You're definitely quiet about the Epic Store, but they've been
they
focusing on fighting review bombing for some reason.
Yeah,
Instead.
they've fought that, and then they fought like when the Metro thing first happened. They commented slightly on it. They've been mostly quiet about it though, which is not good. We want to hear something from them. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this develops. I kind of like this fist fight between Epic and Steam right now.
I don't.
It's
there's some temporary bad things that are going to come along with it, but I think all in all it'll be good for the industry.
It'll be good. I would be so much happier if Epic wasn't a piece of shit launcher, but
yeah, I agree with Steven.
I would be on your side if Epic wasn't a complete shit launcher, but it is. So
I mean, Rico, to kind of
like
address like it's good business doesn't mean it isn't shitty. I do think it's shitty. Like Epic's doing some shitty stuff to get here.
But in the long run, it will be good.
I think I think they have to do it. I mean, not like I guess it didn't have to be them, but somebody had to, because in reality, Steam is kind of a monopoly in the PC. Like they have such a dominant market share that they probably should have had like the government step in.
Yeah.
by now, just because getting like into like a lot of people have tried to like make their own game stores and have not been able to penetrate whatsoever. Not necessarily because they had an inferior product to Steam, but just because Steam is a too big to fail ecosystem. So I don't know. I'm like really on the fence about it, and the damage has been pretty minimum. I mean, like I said, when it comes down to it, it's software for playing video games.
Yeah,
So I don't want to like they're doing some things that are questionably shitty, but the actual impact to people and consumers isn't that severe.
I just wish like all the PR stuff wasn't like so, because everyone's so it's completely negative, like because you got Randy Pitchford over here like calling out all the haters. You got everyone calling out haters and haters and haters. And like now you're losing like faith from like your customers. It's just why does that have to be people I like? Why? God damn it! Fine, I'm being biased because it affects me, but god damn it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I know eventually, especially with this move, I have faith it's going in a good direction. But they should work on making that launcher better. And
I mean, and Steam has definitely had a lot of time to mature their launcher. I mean, the launcher's been basically the same for a decade, and they basically funded it by taxing the hell out of developers and publishers. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This is a good step. Putting all the weight on Steam now. There was like minimal weight on Steam. Now it's all
Yep.
It's all on Steam.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll definitely keep up with this story as it advances. But all right, man, we talked about that for a long time. Let's jam through these last two news topics real quick and dive into our main topic. All right, this is just an update that real life lobbyist who was banned from EVE Online for corruption. He was proven innocent. That's really it. EVE Online developers issued an apology and rescinded the ban. Yeah, this is very weird.
Cool, I guess.
Yeah. So.
What was he banned for in the first place?
For insider trading.
Yeah, that. In EVE Online.
In EVE Online.
Are they sure they weren't mistaking that for real life insider trading?
Yeah, he is a lobbyist. But he was pretty upset from the original ban. He's like, why would I risk my entire reputation, not only like in the game, but also professionally, as a liar?
Because people are dumb. I don't know.
For like some points in a game.
That's not a good defense, but sure.
Apparently, he's not running for re-election for something next year. He's like resigning from his position.
Damn. Yeah, wow. So EVE Online may have ruined this guy's career. Be careful about the games you play, folks.
Just don't get banned.
Don't play EVE Online. That's what I've learned. People take that shit way too seriously. All right, and the last thing is Smash Ultimate outsells the Wii U console. Also outsells Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Can we talk about how like insane that is?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Smash Ultimate has been out for 4 months.
For 4 months, it's outsold Smash Bros. Brawl.
13.8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what?
14.8 million. Third highest selling Switch game to date behind Mario Kart 8 and Mario Odyssey.
I'm not surprised.
Oof.
So it is outsold Breath of the Wild, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and the Wii U console.
It outsold an 11-year-old like video game on one of the most popular
consoles of all time. Yeah, that's
and the most popular video.
Outsold 4.
Has it
outsold 4? Technically, no, not yet.
If you combine 3DS and Wii U, no.
Yeah, if you combine 3DS and Wii U.
But it will.
Yes.
Most likely.
At its current trajectory, yeah. Like it's only like 1 million underneath Smash 4 at this point. So.
That's great.
And Smash 4 arguably had less sales than that because there's a lot of people who double dipped.
Yeah.
Who bought 3DS and Wii U copies. I did. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who did that since the 3DS one came out like a month earlier.
It came out first, yeah.
I don't understand why you guys would buy it for the 3DS.
There was also a reward for doing it.
We got Mewtwo.
Yeah, you also got Mewtwo. And then I sold my copy when the Wii U version came out, so like it didn't actually end up costing me all that much.
I don't regret my purchase because Smash 1 was pretty fun.
Yeah, I actually sold it for only $10 less than it cost, and Mewtwo was a $6 value, so I really only lost $4 to play it a month early. So I'm good with that.
Also, Smash is the only game I'd consider one of the only games I consider double dipping for.
Yeah. So that's kind of absolutely ridiculous. That Ultimate has outsold the Wii U console.
That's insane.
That's sad.
Nah.
It's more sad for the Wii U than anything.
Not even surprised.
It's been 4 months. It hasn't even been a year yet. Like, that's crazy.
Wii U trash.
It hasn't been 6 months yet.
It's 4 months in. Well, 5 months in.
Sure.
And man, that's nutty. All right. So now it's time to go into our main topic of the week: how to fix Octopath Traveler. So I'm going to go ahead and give a quick major spoiler warning ahead. If you haven't played the game, there are likely going to be major spoilers to story elements.
Yeah, probably. Spoilers to everything. So
you should put it in the title.
Meh.
Yeah.
You should probably.
I can update the title.
Okay. Should I wait for you to do that, or?
I mean, you can start talking as long as you're not going to start spewing spoilers immediately.
Nah, I'm going to talk about the gameplay first. So I'm going to preface by, I hate so many things in this game, but it's still a fantastic game. And no matter how much I shit talk it, y'all should still buy it and play it.
If you like turn-based RPGs, then yeah.
Even if you don't, it's a good game. It's a good game.
The title's been updated.
Okay. So, I'm going to start by talking about the core gameplay. It's a turn-based JRPG. So I haven't played a lot of JRPGs. I don't how. For those who have played it, is this like similar to the rest of them, or is it more? I don't know. I'm asking like Larone.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing.
That's not Octopath. That's the mobile game.
What?
I think.
Oh.
Jake pulled up a screenshot of
No,
the
I
mobile
didn't.
game. I mean, I haven't. The ones I've played, yeah, like you can't really. Most turn-based JRPGs have something unique about them, like where it isn't just, you know,
Yeah, it plays like a turn-based square game.
yeah.
So, is there like unique aspects to this compared to others?
The boost system.
The boost system is okay. So we'll get into that. So basically, it's turn-based. You get your turn lineups at the top of the screen. I don't know. Do you have a picture? Or no? Oh, you
He's
did.
pulling.
I'm pulling up an image.
So
Well,
at the
I'm not gonna like pull up a bunch of images. So
yeah, at the top.
there's gonna be one image, and that's what's gonna be.
Yeah. So as you can see at the top of the screen, there's a turn lineup. Your current turn and then the future turn. You only get to see 2 turns, 1 turn ahead. So you can see at the top, you got the boss has 1 attack on this turn, and you get 1 attack for each of your characters. That's basically how the turn lineup works, and you can affect your character's speed in game to make it go faster for the next turn, but not the current turn. So that's how you base it on the turn-based aspect. How this one works, to kill them, they don't take a lot of damage unless you break their shield. And I think, yeah, so under this big bird boss, you're going to see this number 10 with a shield. That's how strong its shield is. You have to break it 10 times for it to become vulnerable. And it's vulnerable to a spear attack and then 2 mystery attacks. You have to attack it to find out what it's vulnerable to or use certain skills. I have absolutely no issues with that. I love it. I think,
Yeah.
I actually can't think of a negative for it.
Nope.
I love discovering like what their weaknesses are. Actually, some of them are very like logical. So like if you're fighting like an ice thing, you could guess it's weak to fire, and usually it is. A lot of like the evil bosses are weak to like, light magic, which makes sense. So like a lot of times you don't even have to, you can guess and you feel good like when you guess it right because it makes sense. Some of them aren't it's not always like that, but I like it like that. The only thing I have against the weaknesses, and it's very minor, is that as you can see, the boss is vulnerable to a spear and 2 mystery things. Now they actually have it listed. Every single attack in the game is like listed in a line. So if it was vulnerable to every single attack in the game, it would be listed in order. So it could be weak to spears, and let's say daggers, swords, and bow and arrows are listed before spears. You know for a fact that this bird is not vulnerable to any of those things because spear comes after it.
So you want it to be random in a random order?
Yeah, I like that.
I kind of wish it. I don't know, because I like guessing based on what it is, not what I already know. I don't like. I wish it was random. Like it kind of takes away like the mystery, like of me like guessing. Oh, what is this boss weak to? Like I would imagine this bird is weak to bow and arrows, like wind, and I guess spears, because a lot of flying things seem to be weak to spears for some reason.
Arrows too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like those are the things I would guess. But like the way they have it listed, I know for a fact it's not a sword, it's not a dagger, because those things are listed before a spear. I kind of wish they were random. But that's like a minor thing. It doesn't really take away from like the overall like concept of that of that gameplay. I think it's phenomenal otherwise, and I think that's like a minor issue that really I only have a problem with.
No, I see where you're coming from. Like, yeah, I kind of
I
agree.
understand the problem, but I don't care for the solution.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
think I'm
want it
with
to be
Lamar.
random
No.
I don't want it to be random.
because they do a thing, which I'll talk about more in bosses, where they like switch up what they're weak to.
Yeah.
But then it's still really not random. It's still just another list. Like, I don't know.
Like, once you figure out one, you can kind of decipher what the other ones are based on the list.
And the randomness for even that is like they have 3 or 4 lists that they're weak to. So your first list could be axes, swords, and knives. And then once he changes his stance, then it's like fire, wind, and ice, let's say. I kind of wish that the stances were completely random. Like, if he's changing stance from sword, axe, knife, maybe it's sword, ice, and fire next. Not just a new list, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because, like,
More random.
if you just, because you
switch
can,
back.
You can memorize the stances here.
Yeah, you can.
You can just memorize what has already been done, but yeah. So I wish it was a little more random there, but it doesn't. In no way does it take away from the combat. It's still most of the time it's still challenging until you get into like cheesy builds and stuff, which it doesn't matter. But we'll get more into that later. So core gameplay, I actually have almost no issues with. I have nothing to complain about. I love it, and I think that's main reason why. Like, I still praise this game and say you should play it. The one thing, and I didn't know where to put this. I didn't want to put it miscellaneous for last, but I don't think it's core gameplay. But the main issue I have, I'm going to call it gameplay, is that you have a starter unit. Why?
Oh.
Why do you have a starter? So, Octopath Traveler, you have 8 units to choose from, 4 in a party, that you can team build, and it's fantastic. But you start the game by selecting your first unit, and then that unit goes around and like gathers the other 7. But you can't switch the main unit out ever until you beat his last chapter, his or her chapter.
And the game doesn't tell you that.
The game does not tell you that. So what ends up happening is that you get an overleveled, overpowered character depending on who you have. So let's say you pick Ulbrich, the warrior, who in my opinion is one if not the best units in the game. Yeah. If you pick him for your starter, he becomes way overpowered, way overleveled, and almost none of the bosses are going to feel challenging to you because he's going to be 10, 15 levels above everyone else. And that kind of takes away the fun of it. So it's like maybe some of these bosses could have been difficult, but they weren't because you picked the wrong starter. Like, I picked a starter, I picked Primrose, who is a dancer. And really all she does is, like, debuff and buff. Or not even debuff, just buffs. So it really doesn't matter her level. So I don't think I got ruined too much for the difficulty of the game. But you could certainly do that to yourself. Like, if you pick one of the carries and overlevel them, then the game just becomes too easy. Which is already a problem with other aspects of it being too easy. So all you have to do to fix it is not have me locked into a starter character. It literally makes no sense. Because once you start doing that, let me backtrack here. You also don't get party XP when you're farming. So only your main party gets XP from fighting, which is fine. But then if you want to level up the 4 other characters you have, you can only switch out 3. So then you level up 3 more units to get them caught up to the rest of the party. But then your main character has even more XP. And then you have 1 unit that's left out who's even under-leveled compared to the average of the team and way under-leveled compared to your main unit. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
You want to have it balanced. It's like you have to use only him and your main character, which still makes your main character way over-leveled.
As an outsider, that does feel kind of weird that you're basically choosing a protagonist for a game whose fundamentally doesn't have one.
Yeah, you're choosing a protagonist for one that you play 8 protagonists. Like, there is no main character. There's 8 main characters, but they lock you into one specifically at the start of the game.
Which you had a free choice of. That's so weird.
Free choice of which one you want, but fuck you. You better.
Yeah,
pick
so they can't even. So they don't even balance the game around it because they can't.
Nope.
You have free choice of 8 characters.
It's like the worst. If you want to rush through the game, it's fine, but you could do that without having the lock on. Just take the lock off, and that fixes everything.
Yep.
With that issue.
Yeah, that gives anyone who wants to have one over leveled character the ability to do that.
They could have probably just like patched that. I don't. They could have sent out like a patch, like, oh, we unlocked it. It's okay. Game is fixed. Oh, hallelujah. But
you had a problem with that in the beginning because you started off with Tressa at first, didn't you?
as I started a new save file just because I didn't like having Tressa as my main unit. Like, she's all right, but like, she's not a main squad unit.
Yeah.
Which I discovered later, which I also discovered I couldn't switch her out. So then I chose Primrose, which I also kind of didn't like her, but I made her work more than I could Tressa.
Yeah.
So that's like a really big issue that has a really simple solution. And if they make another game, which I hear they are, I hope they don't do that again, because lordy, it's so bad and so easy to fix.
Yeah, like you said, like, it's the game doesn't have a main character. Like why would you lock yourself in the first character you pick?
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So I didn't know where to throw that in, so I just threw it in the core gameplay. But now we're going to move on. We talked about you get 8 characters. They each have their own unique class. We're going to talk about each of the classes and kind of break them down a little bit. We're just going to list off all of the classes. You have basically the basics. You have Warrior, Thief, Dancer, who is like a buff unit, Scholar, who is your mage, Merchant, who is like... Merchant is stupid.
It's like support, kind of.
Merchant is stupid. Hunter is like a bad version of Warrior.
And you get to capture beasts. It's like
but that's like unique. I'm going to talk about secondaries too, because you can't do that as a secondary.
Yeah.
Apothecary is your healer based on items, and Cleric is your healer based on magic.
Yeah, that's the traditional healer. Yeah, the white mage.
Yeah. They're both good. So I'm going to talk about the good classes. Warrior. I'm going to talk about what good classes based off the original 8, because there are 4 secret ones, but the good ones based off the original 8.
Yeah.
Warrior, Dancer, Scholar, Apothecary, and Cleric. I think Thief, Merchant, and Hunter are just kind of throwaway. You don't need them.
I kind of disagree with that. I feel like
you disagree with Thief.
I think I disagree with like mostly all of them for the most part.
So you get kind of redundancy and uselessness, I think, from Thief, Merchant, and Hunter. Again, there's 2 spells Thief has that are good, and that is it. He has a debuff for physical attack and a debuff for physical defense.
If you don't use the Apothecary, then Steel SP is decent.
He has spells that steal SP and you can share SP, but it's such like a hassle to do. First of all, you steal SP, which costs SP, so you don't really get that much SP to begin with. And then when you share SP, it's only with one person. Apothecary can restore SP to everyone in 1 turn. So
I also like the
Thief is completely irrelevant in that field because he gets outclassed by Apothecary. So it's redundant and useless, in my opinion. If you get outclassed by another class, it's a useless move.
You got 2 dagger attacks
though. Okay.
It was kind of useful.
No.
Also, the Thief's Therion's debuff I felt was pretty useful against some bosses. I'd say.
That's what. Okay, so again, that's why I mentioned those 2 things. He's good for those 2 things, but even then, the attack debuff kind of gets like you don't need the attack debuff. Like it's nice sometimes, but even that's useless because you get skills that raise your defense, and you have
Inside.
Primrose who can just raise defense for a whole party.
I can agree with it.
So really, Thief has one good move, and that is corrosive armor. So you're gonna have one party member for one thing. Okay, useless, redundant.
Also, I like the divine skill.
A dagger attack against all units is whatever. I haven't used it, so maybe you're right. But the fact that I never used it, I never found a use for it, and I beat the game. Quote unquote, I beat the game. You don't need it, so it's redundant.
Are you going to talk about like map skills too in this? Or like
the what? Oh, map skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So, I want to talk about their like gameplay. Merchant. Okay, so talk about fixing Thief first. You gotta make him feel like more of a thief. Maybe if you added a full debuff, maybe if he was like a full debuff class, like debuff magical, attack and defense, and physical, then he has way more uses. Because there's like nothing that lowers elemental defense, except for like Alphin's Concoct, which is a hit or miss. Like it's not guaranteed.
The sorcerer has that, but we're not talking about secret jobs, right?
Not right now.
Yeah.
So Thief, if he had that, it would fix him, I think, a little bit, and give him. I really can't think of anything. Like if he could temporarily steal like a weapon from them, I think would be cool.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like maybe it's not temporary. Maybe you just steal their weapon and they get like weaker. I don't know. And obviously it wouldn't be like a high chance. Maybe that even could be his divine skill. I don't know. But it would make him feel more of a thief. Because right now he doesn't feel like a thief. You get the in-game option to steal an item from them, but it doesn't do anything to them. You just get an item.
Yeah.
So it's like it's optional stuff, and it has nothing to do with the actual fight.
That's the very basic thief class skill.
Yeah.
In most games, a steal item.
Yeah, but then it doesn't do anything to the boss, is what I'm saying. Like, if it did something to the boss, maybe if it even angered some of the bosses, like, if you're talking about his story in particular, like, if you're stealing from one of his bosses, maybe that fucking pisses them off and it makes it harder. I don't know, but it would be cool. There's so much more they could do with Thief that they don't, and he just gets outclassed and outshined by so many. They have to make him more unique, and I don't know how they could. I think they gave too much to everyone else.
That's what they made purple chest for.
Yeah, so his main use is he can unlock purple chests, which has like good items, but you don't need that. Has nothing to do with his combat. Yeah. That's just exploring the world.
And that's the main reason why I kept Therion the Thief in my party, because
I
he
just
opens
decided
purple.
to go back to the dungeons and unlock them later, because I didn't want Therion on my team because he was so like pathetically useless compared to everyone else I had who could just do his job better.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everyone can do his job except better.
I think I disagree with you saying that the Thief is like basically useless, but I do agree that they could have done something better.
They need to work on him. I think they could have made him more, give him more variety of options, because really you're only using him for like 1 or 2 spells, and that's it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, if I'm using Therion, I have him sitting on his turn like, wow, there's nothing for him to do. And if you're thinking that, then your unit class sucks, in my opinion. If he's sitting there thinking, I can't do anything with him right now, then garbage. She should always have something to do. That's kind of how I feel about Merchant. Merchant is just the honest thief. She has a defense buff that applies to all, which is basically just the same as the attack debuff that Therion has.
Wait, defense buff?
The defense.
Okay, the hired help. Okay.
Yeah, she has an ability called hired help. You can hire mercenaries that do certain things. The most basic and cheap one is mercenaries. It's a sword attack. on all, and it raises your defense accordingly for the whole party, which is basically just lowering their attack on the like a boss, like what Therion does. So they basically do the same thing, but in a different way.
I mean, hired help has more uses than that.
I mean, you can use it to break, which is also useful. So in that regard, I think it's a little bit more useful than Therion's. Again, that's what makes her better than him, I think. But other than that, she has wind magic, which gets overshadowed later when they introduce the better scholar.
Yep. What I will say, sidestep.
Sidestep is good when you can make it broken.
Game. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But if you're playing through the original 4 chapters for every single character, Tressa is not one you need to use.
Yeah. She also has donate BP and rest. Like, that's really it.
Rest is not useful.
Rest sucks. Yeah, donate BP is not that great when you have Alpha. So.
Yeah. And then Hunter, you can capture beasts and slow. If we're going back to the turn lineups, Hunter has an ability that makes your opponent attack last on every turn for a certain amount of turns.
Now that's useful. Like hold trap.
It's good. That's the only thing Hunter has that I will admit is good. Leg hold trap is good.
Aerostorm's good too, in my opinion.
Aerostorm is whatever. I find it misses way too much. You have to like boost your accuracy first.
Yeah, so boost your
useful. It's too many turns and not useful enough.
I mean, I didn't really boost her accuracy all that much. Honestly, I just like if I saw the boss was weak to arrows, I would just spam Aerostorm. It helped out a lot, at least for me, because like I started with Hannah, and she was basically my carry for most of the game. Because I was like, why would I use Oberic if I have Hannah?
Aerostorm, I guess for bosses, Aerostorm's only good if the boss has minions that also are weak to arrows. Which
it is really good, yeah.
Usually they balance that so it doesn't happen like that, which I noticed. Which takes me back to her beasts, because she can capture beasts that have like triple attacks. You can get beasts that have arrow attacks that attack 3 times.
Yeah.
So you just do that instead of Aerostorm. It's free, it does more damage, and you basically get the same amount of hits.
But does it hit all? All of the
No, but hitting all is so niche.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with Aerostorm being good. I think Summon Beast, Capture Beast, her capture like thing, that's her thing, is good. Leg Hold Trap is good, and everything else gets shined out by everyone else.
Also, so Summon Beast can't target. So
Hunter has a single target thunder attack, and Thief has a single target fire attack.
Yeah.
Completely, they were just like, we need to give them something else. And they were just like, let's just throw some magic on there.
It was like, it's good for breaking, that's about it.
If you're like, oh shit, I messed up with my breaking, and you're panicking, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot, she has a lightning move.
Yep.
But that's on you.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, you can usually calculate a break pretty easily. If you mess it up, it's like, they're just safety nets. And it's like the developers were just like, I don't know what else to do with this. Let's just give her a spell, I guess.
I mean, each of the
damage, the way you build them, they don't do damage at all. So pointless skill.
Each of the classes have a skill like that besides sorcerer and
what's warriors?
Well, except for warrior, sorry, he only does weapon attacks.
And then dancer's fine too. The only one I found useless was kind of like speed, because leg hold trap. Panther Dance boosts the team speed, but you have leg hold trap, which is just superior.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Those are the 3 classes I feel like you could fix. And I don't actually have a way to fix them, because that it requires me to, design their game. I'm not like a game designer. They just made those 3 classes so inferior to the other 5. That it's like, why would you use them? Which is what I felt. So it's like, whatever. So they just have a bunch of redundancy in their game. They could have made them more unique, and I would have felt like maybe I would have wanted to use them, but I didn't.
I feel like they did that on purpose too, because you can only have a 4-man party. You know, so like,
Yeah, so make me decide. Give me more variety. That's the point of the game. You want a team build. Like, that's what you and me think is fun. And when you just have a bunch of redundancy, it just makes it kind of easier.
yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just like going in their mindset as to why they like made some of the skills and jobs a little redundant.
And then, so with the classes, you get you can basically have a secondary class. So warrior at some point can be a warrior and a thief, which kind of makes some of the classes useless as a secondary class. Like apothecary. Apothecary as a secondary class, basically useless because it does not have concoct. Concoct is an Alphen main apothecary skill only. Hunter, you don't get capture. It is a main hunter ability only. So it's like, why you're only giving them for weapon variety? And it's like, okay, I guess it's good,
and
but
stat buffs.
It's not as fun. And I wish you just got more variety. It's whatever. I mean, Larone beat the game, and he doesn't even use secondary jobs.
Yeah, that's wild.
So
they don't exist.
According to Larone, they don't exist. Which I guess I feel like Larone should be exploring the world more. But,
I don't understand.
But also, if he can go the whole game without finding a single one, maybe they should have made it like a requirement thing. Like, hey, do this mission and it'll unlock a secondary job. Like, to make it completely optional. He still has question marks on his main menu. I don't think you should.
Yeah, nice game.
With question marks. So I kind of do agree with him. I think they should have made it like a main mission thing. They could have added it into anyone's. Like, they could have added it so that everyone's like second chapter could have had a thing where you get that secondary job for them, and it unlocks it instead of making it all optional.
Wait, so like they get their own assigned secondary jobs?
No. So like once you beat Thief, if you beat Thief's second chapter, you unlock Thief's.
Oh, as a secondary. Oh, okay, okay.
I think that would have been better, just so it just kind of flows better with the game, and you unlock them naturally instead of having to like hunt them down, I guess. Because at some point it does make it a lot more fun to experiment with them, and I just googled where they were because I didn't feel like actually exploring to find them.
Low key, me too.
So if they just added it into the main story, I think it would have been just been better. Larone would actually know what they are.
I mostly agree with you. It's just they kind of made the shrines like they intertwined it with the lore of Octopath because you talk to like the gods or champions or whatever.
And you could have made those shrines part of like your chapter 2. And then maybe for secret jobs like the ones you have to explore and find.
And then people would complain that it's too repetitive though. Like, oh, in chapter 2 you find the boss and then you
pray to your god or something. I don't know. Okay, but you want to complain about repetitiveness. That's plenty in this game. So I think they would have been better off like that. Because you want to talk about repetitive? What's repetitive is having to Google where all the shrines are, walk to them, and then just unlock them like they're like trophies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still repetitive. So if they would have made secondary jobs as a part of the main quest, and also made like, if you got the main ability from the jobs, it would have been better too. Because apothecary is just useless without concoct. It's a useless garbage ass like secondary job. I hate it. So is hunter, because you don't get the summon beast.
I thought you liked that.
It makes sense, I guess, but it's not fun.
Yeah, because I want concoct as my secondary thing too. It's kind of useless. Concoct is so good. Like
concoct is broken.
Yeah.
Apothecary is such a good class. I love what they did with it.
Yeah.
If I have one bad thing to say about that, which I was going to say in the items, but it kind of has to do with Apothecary, is the fact that he uses consumable items to heal and do like buffs, but you cannot buy all the items in
Some of
game.
them. Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, yep,
Well,
yeah, I agree with that too.
Buy half of them, but then the other half.
That's how they balance it.
How is that balanced? That just makes me.
Because if you
grind
just
the
buy
game.
them, be the most broken thing. You gotta grind.
You still have to grind the money for them.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's like, what's wrong with me having the money to buy like 99 of each item? I mean, Ophelia's magic is magic. What's wrong with it? I don't.
You're not gonna have that money anyway until like the end of the
Yeah,
game, or unless you cheese.
Yeah, you could cheese and get all the money, I guess, or something. But it's hard to get that much money. Those items can cost a lot. And if they really want to balance it, they could just make the items cost more.
I completely agree with that.
It's not an issue. The fact that they make you grind for the item that lets Alphen heal SP is stupid. Oh my god, it's stupid. Because that's like one of his most useful items, and you cannot buy it. Yeah. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So
I think it's like a blessing and a curse I didn't use Alphen in my main story. Because like if I did, I know it would be like out of all his items.
Yeah, if I started running out of some of them, and I went to go buy them, and I actually had to Google where to buy them, and then I found out you can't buy them. I was going to every store, and they did not have them, and I was getting super frustrated. So like, can you imagine if you didn't have Google? I'm going to every single town looking for this item. Doesn't have it. Doesn't have it. Doesn't have it. There's like 12, 16 towns. Like, are you kidding me? But that's how you fix that part. You just make every item viable. Every consumable, just be able to buy it. I don't understand. So, those are basically all the classes. I didn't go over the ones I like. Scholar is good until he gets outclassed by one of the secret jobs, which is just
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer is just a better scholar because he has all magic. He's not restricted to just lightning, ice, and fire. Warrior gets outclassed by War Master because War Master can use every single weapon and just has better abilities and skills.
That divine skill, good lord.
Yeah. And Dancer just gets outclassed by what is it called? Starseer? Starseer because Starseer just has better buffs. That's it. Like,
and she has or he has a skill where you hit with wind, light, and dark magic. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you have better magic and better buffs, and it's just you just get better versions of some of these classes, which just again makes those classes feel redundant. You're taking good classes. You're taking the good classes and you're making them feel redundant. That's sad.
That I'm more okay with because those jobs are supposed to be like quote unquote secret, you know?
They're secret and they're good, but you're already taking the good jobs and making them better. Why don't you take your bad jobs and make them better? Or just have 8 secret jobs. That is an upgrade. Why are you only upgrading the good ones? I don't understand. So you could do lots of things to fix that.
Well, you can talk about the best secret job, Rune Lord.
Rune Lord, you get to augment like your weapons to have like elemental effects, and you can cheese physical based bosses by
sidestep.
Using sidestep and
transfer rune.
So transfer rune is any buff that would affect yourself now affects your whole team. Sidestep is you dodge 100% dodge the next physical attack on yourself. When you use that together, it makes your whole team 100% dodge the next physical attack. And you can boost it to make it last like 9 turns, and you never get hit, and then the boss is cheesed.
And that's how I beat the wolf.
It's stupid, and you can do the same thing with magic users because
I'm gonna beat this wolf.
You can reflect magic damage completely. You take none of it. It just gets reflected back at them, and that's how you beat magic users.
Well, you have to combine it with the cleric divine skill, so it affects everyone.
But it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's how I beat Starseer, Sayora, and that's how I beat final boss phase 1.
2 completely broken tactics that just kind of break the difficulty of any boss.
Yep.
So, that does kind of segment. I kind of left off on Alphen on the items. I already touched on that. The only other issue I have with items is that they don't have a level restriction. So, like me and Larone did, was you can steal items from the townspeople with Therion.
Oh yeah, I spam that too.
But you can just you have like 5 tries, and then you have to pay the town barkeeper a certain amount of money to get your popularity back up. But you can just reset the game until you get the item, because it has like a percentage chance. So you just have to play the odds until you get the item. And some of these items are like some of the best in the game, and they don't have a level restriction, so you can equip your low level units with the best equipment in the game, and you can just be like, oh, this boss is easy because your equipment is way over level for where you're at. It's ridiculous. You can Google where the good ones are, spam your 3% chance to get them, and then beat the boss that was originally hard and then become super easy because the level items have no level restrictions.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I saw the staff with like throwing something elemental attack in like chapter 2.
Yeah, so
Laurent scared me.
300 elemental attack is the second highest in the game. So having that in chapter 2 is ridiculous. Like, you're going to be doing an immense amount of damage, more than you should at that point. And I mean, you could do it on your own honor code, like, oh, I just won't steal that item and use it. But it's in the game. They make it so that, I mean, they put some of these people right next to save points, so that you don't even have to walk far. So
it auto saves every time you go to a new area.
Does it do that too?
Yes.
Oh, that's even worse. I didn't know that. So you could just reset the game until you get the item, and then cheese bosses because you're way stat heavy over them.
I mean, I kind of needed it.
Laurent needed it because he didn't like fight any mobs. He rushed through the game. It took him 30 hours to beat the game. Probably took me like 60 to 70 hours to beat the game because I was leveling all my characters.
Same.
He had like characters that were like level 10 at the end of his run, which is ridiculous.
18
compared to like my level 40s and 50s at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's why Laurent needed those equipment. We play the game normally.
The normal way, yeah.
You don't need to do it like that.
You don't.
But the game allows you to do it, and I don't think they even thought about it. All they have to do is put a level restriction on items, and I think it's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The fact that they have percent chances to steal really good items that have no level restriction, and you put them right by like save points, it's just you're asking your players to cheese the game, which is just unfortunate because people will do that. So, I mean, I'm looking at a really good weapon, and I'm like, wow, I really want to use that. So I'm gonna restart my game until I get it.
I will say Forbidden Blade was a 0% chance. So I just bought it.
It depends on your level.
Yeah, it does depend on theory.
That was the only 0% I ever ran into.
Yeah, most of the time it will be 3% unless you're super under level. But then most of the time you can also buy the
Yeah, I just bought it.
Which is crazy, too.
I'm sorry, you talk about redundancy. I'm surprised you didn't talk about the map skills being redundant.
I mean, oh yeah.
There's like a lore and guide and, steal, collect, etc., etc.
So since I'm done with items, we can talk about that. So each class has their own map skill. So Scholar, you can scrutinize people for information, and Alphen can, what does he do? He just talks to them, right?
He just talks to them.
Inquire. He inquires for information. So Alphen's inquire is based on his level. If you are not high enough level, you cannot inquire for information. Now, Cyrus's, as a scholar, he has a percent chance. So you can fail, but you're also not like hindered by level. The higher level you are, the better chance you have, but you can keep resetting until you get that chance. But it's just redundant. Like, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
They should have did something, yeah. I actually agree with it.
Merchant and thief are basically the same thing. They acquire items. It's just how are you acquiring it? I think they have the best
difference
because trusses actually cost money, which is like, do I really want to spend money on that item? And she can sometimes get a discount on the item. It's percent chance on that too.
It's either between it's those two or the hunter and the warrior.
Warrior and hunter, you can both fight townspeople to get inside buildings or
Side quests, items and stuff. Yeah.
But at some point, it's just like Ulbricht's just better, so just fight with Ulbricht.
Yeah. Why would I ever waste beast when I could just use Ulbricht?
Yeah, because you have to use beast to hand it, and it's like you only get a certain amount of uses out of each beast. So why would I do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then cleric and dancer can both recruit townspeople as their followers for you to use in battle, which I don't find redundant because it's extra units for you to use in battle.
Yeah, Allure was clutch.
But you could also give them more unique things to do, but whatever. So really, there's only 4 map skills.
Yep.
It's just based on do you want to leave it to chance, or do you want to wait till you're high enough level?
Yep.
They could have just made it different. I don't know what else you would give to these people to do, but it was definitely redundant, and I did not like it. If you have Cyrus and Alphen in your same party, you hate yourself because you're walking around the town and you're like, wow, I'm missing out on one of my map skills.
It was to the point where I had a map skill team when I went into towns. You know what I mean? I shouldn't do. I
had a map skill team because I was like, I don't want to go back to this guy again with a different unit. So, I don't know. But then I guess if you give them all 8 different things, then it's then you're gonna have to backtrack.
I did pull out Therion when I got to a new town.
Yeah, you had to pull out Therion.
You had
because you were gonna steal items.
Gotta see who's got the good stuff.
Yeah. So it was redundant. I don't have a fix for that, unfortunately. It's just
better game design. You can say it.
Yeah, better game design, I guess. So we're gonna move on to bosses now.
You even hit story. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So bosses, while I will say the pixel art for all the bosses is beautiful.
Fantastic.
It's amazing. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of the bosses fall flat on difficulty. A lot of the bosses have their own gimmick, but unfortunately, they're either forgettable or they just don't land on the mark. I will say, the ones that do have good gimmicks are some of the hardest bosses, I think. Chapter 3 of Alphens, Miguel. One of the hardest bosses, I think, I've ever fought.
That was the only one that took me more than 3 tries.
Yep. He has an ability where he throws spears into the air and they don't land until his next turn. So you have to anticipate his current attack and those spears that will fall on you from his previous attack, which can be a lot to calculate. And you're like, well, can I really take all these hits or not?
I think it's dumb that it doesn't happen if you break him.
Yeah, that's true, because you can break him and then the spears don't fall. So
that just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but I guess it's oh, you broke him, so now he doesn't get any
Because the first time I broke him, I still healed anyway, because I thought I would have died if I didn't. And I never fell.
I didn't have a problem with that. Interesting.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It just logically makes no sense.
Yeah, because the spears are already in the air. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of bad gimmicks.
Simeon.
Simeon just silences your whole team.
You should explain what silence is.
And he darkens the turn.
Thing. Yeah. So Simeon is Primrose's Chapter 4. It is one of the easiest bosses in all of the game to beat, hands down. 2 things he does. One is that he mass silences your whole team. Silence, you cannot use abilities or spells, and you cannot see your turns. So you can see the current and previous, or the current and next turn. He darkens it so you cannot see who is going when, which it wasn't really a problem for me. When I first fought him, he didn't even get to use that against me. I didn't know that was a thing at first. That's how easy he was. Either I wasn't paying attention and I didn't care, or he never used it. Like, either way, it is a dumb gimmick that did not work. And his silence, he doesn't do anything to back up his silence. He'll mass silence you, and then I can just beat him with a sword and heal until he dies. And mind you, silence does not affect concoct. Concoct is item based,
Items.
so you can still heal with concoct. So you just heal, beat him with a sword, and it just takes forever, and then you just kill him, and it's the most redundant, boring, easy boss fight, especially for chapter 4. And it's so unfortunate because it's for the best story like in the game.
Chapter 4 is their final chapters, by the way, for anyone confused.
Chapter 4 is the final chapter for everyone's story. So this is Primrose's final chapter. It is beautifully set up, like the music to go along with it, the art, like the scenery is beautiful. It is hands down the best one, and they ruin it with this like not dramatic. They even like fake you out. They have like this first boss battle that is like, wait, what is this? And you're like, oh, that was kind of easy. And then you get to the second
I knew
one.
there was no way it was the boss.
I mean, I was a little confused. So then you get to the second one that is like the music picks up, it's more dramatic. You're like, oh shit, this is gonna be it. And then it's easier than the first one. What? They like fucked it. They had everything right. They built it up to this really good, and then they ruined it, in my opinion.
You talked about like bad game design. I forgot to bring up something we were talking about it, but like we're kind of off it.
What were you gonna say?
Like healing with clerics, it's based on elemental defense.
Oh,
There's nothing in the game that tells you that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's whatever. So yeah, healing's based off of elemental defense and not elemental attack.
Are you talking about some of the wording too, or some of the skills?
I was gonna say that for miscellaneous.
Okay, go ahead.
That's just missing translations.
Yeah.
So we talked about the bosses. Like, there's so very few of them, and then like so Tressa's final boss has like a good gimmick, and she's really attractive.
But she sucks.
But like she's super easy. Like and she's so poorly written. Like you have all these chapters that are like they either have no good writing, or the boss is like super easy. Like, where was the team collaboration on these? Like, they're missing vital like parts. If they could just all work together, all these chapters could have been beautiful, but they weren't.
But what do you mean work together?
I don't know. I feel like the teams were just like on separate like wavelengths. They weren't like they were just doing their own thing and they just put it together at the end.
Like the story team and like game.
Like. Yeah, that's what it feels.
Okay.
The boss, whoever was in charge of like the bosses, were like, we're just gonna do this, and the story team's just like, we're just gonna do this, and we'll throw them together, hope it works out.
I feel that way for some of them, not for the majority. I feel that way for Esmeralda, Tressa's final boss, because she literally just pops up out of nowhere.
Her final boss is nowhere to be found anywhere in chapter 1, 2, or 3. She is just some random bitch. She's got a decent gimmick. She throws like these special daggers that do special things. Too bad you never see them do anything because you kill her like in seconds flat. Like nothing.
The only thing that like you could say that she doesn't pop out of nowhere is that she belongs to Obsidian, the bad guy organization. But like I don't think you even find that out until after you.
Yeah, you really don't.
Yeah,
like, it depends on how you beat these characters' like stories, because they all reveal like this overarching theme in their own stories. But then it's like, in what order do you beat them? Kind of depends on when you learn information. So it wasn't good story writing. Like Primrose, they should have focused on the characters' own stories and made like the overarching like themes that connected them like a secondary thing.
That's basically what they did.
Kinda, but like especially like Tressa's was like, here's a secondary theme that took over her chapter 4, and it was really bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, yeah, most of the bosses are gorgeous to look at, but overall, they're not going to be in like your top 10 like hardest boss or most memorable boss. Like, they're just whatever.
We should talk about
especially
Red Eye.
planets.
Yeah, I was about to say Red Eye. There we go.
You want to talk about a bad story? Like, her story is boring, but they
okay.
overall,
Yeah.
chapter 1, 2, and 3 builds up this badass like beast that can turn you to stone.
Yep.
They
That's my
build
problem.
it up to your chapter 4. So then you fight it in your chapter 4. And do you want to know what it doesn't do?
Turn you into stone.
Doesn't turn you into stone. We've had
Yep.
4 people, myself, Dan, who is usually on this show, Julian, and Lerone. We've all fought it, and no one got turned to stone, not once.
I got turned to stone once at the end, but at that point I just killed it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Julian's already seen it.
It didn't matter. And the bad part is like they give you 10 Herb of Grace potions.
Yep.
Like it makes you think, oh shit, he's gonna turn me to stone like, throughout the entire boss fight. And you barely did it.
Yeah, you get, like in chapter 2 and 3, you get potions and items to heal the
Petrified, yeah.
before it like fully envelops you, and I didn't have to touch it once.
Yep.
Literally didn't.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, what a anticlimactic piece of shit story. Like.
No. Okay. What I will say, when you find out at the end who Red Eye really is, that was like, whoa.
But that's not part of her story. Like.
It's part of the connecting story, I guess.
Connects it, but no, I'm talking about just her, because what you're talking about is optional anyway.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about the optional final boss, because when you beat the game, it's not really beating the game.
You beat the game, quote unquote.
There's an optional final boss that connects all 8 people together, which again is optional. I'm just going to cover mini bosses really quick. So there's mini bosses around the map, which are also optional. The only problem I have with them is that they don't scale to your level. So they just feel like
that's fine.
They just feel like a chore to do. So if I'm like level 60, which most of my units are, I'm going into a level 25 cave. I'm going to go beat this mini boss that takes me like 2 hits to beat it. I'm like, wow, that's so anticlimactic. And you could say, oh, well, why didn't you just do it when you were that level? Well, unfortunately, that means my main character is going to get more XP that I don't want him to get, because he's already like over level. Which goes back to that one major flaw of locking your starter unit.
Yep.
So I wish they would have scaled so that I could have like felt a little bit of challenge, or even like add like a side menu thing where I can like challenge these bosses again, but at a harder difficulty, just so I can see what it's like. But like,
cool.
But a lot of these like bosses that are like hyped up by these villagers are just like, oh, so that Leviathan that's been like hurting people, I just like hit it with a sword twice and it died.
Yeah, I did do that when I when I beat the game, and then like all my characters were like level 60 and it was like level 30 or something, so I whacked it and it died.
Destroyed it.
Yeah.
So it was stupid. That's the only problem I have with mini bosses, though. The mini bosses still look great, and I would say the mini bosses actually have more of gimmicks themselves than some of the main bosses do.
Did you do the Snake Charmer, Steve? Did anyone do the Snake Charmer?
I did the Snake Charmer, and I beat him in 1 or 2 hits, so I don't even know what his gimmick was.
Oh, it was hard for me when I did it because I wasn't over leveled then. So like, go ahead.
That was it. I was over level.
Like when you beat the Snake Charmer, that the snake goes berserk, and like it attacks like 4 or 5 times. Like,
I just killed the snake first.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
I whacked the snake like twice, and he died. That's what I'm saying. They should scale, because I would have liked a challenge, but it wasn't. So
yeah, I actually agree with it. I didn't have a problem with that at first, and now you explained it. I think
it's just a grind for some of these side quests. It's not fun, unfortunately. So that's all I have to say about mini bosses. Just make them scaling, and I think you fix it.
Optional bosses, not mini bosses.
Right. Whatever. They're mini bosses that are optional.
Sure.
So the main thing about bosses, I want to talk about the final boss.
All right, here we go.
So after you beat everyone's chapter 4, everyone's story is concluded. You have to do this convoluted like side quest that unlocks this final like boss who is like the god who's been sealed away that'll bring destruction to their realm, blah blah blah. which connects all their stories together, which is completely optional, and it's the hardest boss in the game. And oh my god, I have so many problems with it. I blanked out.
Okay, you should talk about the boss rush at first.
You unlock it, and you go into this place. You can save right before you go into this gate. But to get to the final boss, you have to beat a boss rush of 8 bosses, 1 for each of your corresponding units. It seems kind of random how they picked it. What it seemed like at first was the theme of, okay, who was the most evil boss in their chapter? But then, you get to, Hanet's boss, and it's just some stupid dragon.
They didn't pick Red Eye, I think, because they wanted you to save your Herbert Grace potions. I think it's the only reason.
You didn't even need it.
Yep.
So, you do that, and it doesn't seem to have a theme. It's just annoying. They're not that much harder than what you did. And if you're going straight from the chapters into the boss rush, you're just playing Chapter 4 bosses again. So, if you just got done beating Primrose's Chapter 4, and you go do the boss rush, you're just fighting a tankier Simeon, who's just as easy, just has 100k more health.
It's just it becomes annoying, yeah.
Boring.
Because you have to be over level if you want to do this final boss.
Yeah, so the final boss is so hard, you have to be over level to do it, and you have to be so over level to do it that the boss rush is super easy.
Yep.
If you lose to the final boss, you have to redo the boss rush, and it just is time consuming, boring. Oh my god, I want to die. I hate it. I don't even want to do the final boss because of how much I hate doing the boss rush. All you have to do is a very simple fix, because what they should have done is just not made it optional. Make the final boss a completely main story thing. Once you beat everyone's Chapter 4, then introduce this final boss as your main goal to finish the game. You want to know when the credits roll is when your starter unit finishes his Chapter 4. So if you beat your starter unit, which is locked, as your first Chapter 4, then the credits roll. And then you still have 7 other Chapter 4s to do. So you're oh, I still have a game to play, but the credits rolled. So when did the game actually end?
Yeah.
And then you still have the final boss, which is links everyone together. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I don't understand what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Did it
at the very least, there should be a save point right before the final boss. They're going to do something like that.
Yeah. So the save point is right before the boss rush, not before the final boss.
Not to mention, you have to use... Are you going to talk about this right now, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, for the final boss, you have to use all 8 of your companions. You have a main team, and then a secondary team.
That's how we played it.
So, phase 1 of the final boss, you use your first team. Phase 2 of the final boss, you use your secondary team. Now, unfortunately, most of everyone is going to beat this game with just one team.
Yep.
Which makes you think, okay, how am I going to team build for the second one? But a lot of people don't want to take the time to grind out their secondary team, or even think about how they will utilize their secondary team, because it's so difficult, and so many of their class abilities are redundant and useless. You just don't even want to use them. And that goes back to the classes I was complaining about. I use the secret jobs for my main team. Trying to build my secondary team, I have to use all these jobs I don't want to use because I hate them because they're so stupid. It's not fun for me. If I could beat the final boss with one team, I could probably do it.
Yep.
And I probably want to do it.
I beat it eventually, but I had to really think about... Well, I basically had the same strategy for each phase. I just used Reflective Veil and Stale Teach's Seduction for the first phase, and the second phase I used Sidestep and Transfer Rune for phase 2.
You pick the 2 cheesiest strategies in the game.
Yep.
To beat the final boss.
Yeah, I had to. It was so hard.
Yeah, which I appreciate that they actually added a difficulty to it, but I think if they had more variety in their classes and characters, that you wouldn't have to rely on just cheesy methods. Which I think they should, if they're going to make another game, they need to look at that and cut out all the redundancy and make it so that your final boss, which connects your overarching story into the main game. Because I bet a lot of people aren't even going to do the final boss or even learn about it. Because you have to do these random ass side quests, which if you're 100% in the game, then you'll find it.
Yep.
If you get lucky, you'll find it.
Yep.
Other than that, it's like, wow.
You would have no idea that would unlock the final boss unless you Google. Yep.
So, I think it's dumb.
That's a good segue to story.
Those are so that's exactly what I was going to do. So, stories. I'm going to start with, like, whose stories are good. Ulbrich and Primrose's stories. Overall, really good stories, and you enjoy listening to them and playing them out. But those are really the only good ones.
I think Alphen's was trash until chapter 3.
Alphen's was like, just, I want to help people. And then it starts getting deep. And then, so his was average. Alphen's was average. Tressa's was average.
Yeah,
Tressa's was fine as like a finding herself kind of story, except until the end when they threw in these random ass like bad guys that make no sense. So they ruined it. So it's average.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is average?
Cyrus.
Cyrus is average. I mean, he likes knowledge, and at the end of the story, he likes knowledge. That's it.
Yvonne got played and by the assistant, whatever her name is.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. You don't. None of these like twists are like, oh my god, what a twist! Like, it's whatever. His was average. Ophelia's was like, I enjoyed Ophelia's character, but then like her sister drags it down. And
okay, I thought that was fine.
No.
It's just, it made sense. She lost her dad. Like,
no,
I know
she's a sister of the church. Like, no, she should have more faith in her God. I don't understand. It went completely against both of her character, and then like the final boss is just like generic and who cares. So overall, her story is average. Therion's, I actually hate the most because, you know, like how Tressa's was, she didn't get like super deep into it. She just was like, it's like a coming of age, like I'm discovering who I am kind of story. It wasn't super deep like Primrose's. Therion's could have been the same way. You could have just had like a cool story of him stealing shit, like, but no, they had to make it like deep with like, I work alone, I'm hard and broody because of one of my best friends, he betrayed me, and then you like find him and then you get over it because you defeat him. And
he does get over it a little easily, but
why do I like?
Wasn't that bad?
It's like, why did I ever feel like this because of you in the first place? Like,
it was with Cordelia. She helped him.
You start off his story with having to steal these dragon stones. You steal one, and then the rest of your story is hunting down Darius because he has the rest. Like,
I thought he had
had two.
Or he had two.
He had two. You steal one, and they already have one.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
They build up like his chapter 1 as you're gonna go hunt down these dragon stones. Like you get to be a treasure hunter maybe, or like have these elaborate like heists. Like it could have been cool, but nope, he's just the emo kid. That's all it is. He's just the emo kid.
He learns to trust people after Cordelia.
I feel like it didn't have to be deep. He could have just been a cool thief treasure hunter.
Information on 3 houses.
So you disagree? You don't like that it's deep?
Yeah, I don't think all of them have to be deep. Like Tressa's was not deep, and I enjoyed it for the most part. Again, it's average. I think it's a nice coming of like age story. I think Therion's could have just been a cool like thief. I'm gonna break into these houses and steal them kind of thing, you know?
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah, that's fine.
It really wasn't that bad.
I didn't like it. And then who else even exists?
Hannah.
Oh, Hannah's is boring.
Ugh. I thought Hannah's was fine. I think all of them are fine. None of them are bad.
I started falling asleep. I just couldn't do it anymore.
How disappointing her final chapter is.
I called Alphen's Chapter 1 and 2 trash. It wasn't trash. It was average, and they got really good in Chapter 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean those are all the stories. So most of them are average.
I feel like we skipped someone.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
I actually might think Ulbrich, and Ulbrich's is good. I don't know about better than Primrose is. It's just, oh no, never mind. Ulbrich has a chapter 2. It's just like pad time. It's like
It felt like padding. I didn't like the arena.
Yeah, he has an arena story, which is just like, okay, he's good with a sword. He's gonna fight everyone with a sword. Like that was his chapter 2. So I feel like a lot of these stories could have either like just cut out a chapter or added a chapter. Like some of them could have had like a chapter 5 just to give them a little more leeway.
Like who?
Like I think Therion could have used one more chapter. Because again, if you want to do the brooding shit, give him one more chapter to like steal something else. Because you get one chapter to steal something, and then you get thrown straight into the Darius bullshit. Like, have one more chapter to kind of segue it better into this thing. Like, I think I maybe would have been a little bit better with that. One more chapter with him. I think Primrose could have capitalized on like another chapter 2, just to flesh out her final boss, to make it flesh out Simeon a little more.
Okay, he does kind of come out of okay, sure.
Because a problem with this game is that when they introduce a character with a name, you're like, oh, that's the final boss. So because they introduce them so late into the stories, and if you have one more chapter to introduce the character and have them act like a good guy, then maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe he isn't the bad guy. They could have done something with that, like with Simeon. Like you see Simeon and you're like, well, I guess he's the bad guy.
I felt like Simeon should have been introduced in chapter 1 or something. He should have been in the flashback.
Something.
Yeah.
If you want to introduce him earlier or give him another chapter, which, I mean, if you give everyone another chapter, you're adding like another 8 hours onto the game, I think.
It's 32 chapters already.
I think is fine. So, I mean, the more game I get to play, as long as it's good, I don't care. But
I don't know, man. I spent a lot of time in this game.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of and then like Tressa's could have used another chapter just to
not really.
To better like flesh out a villain.
Yeah, maybe they could have brought back some. Maybe Leon could have had like a rival or something. I don't know.
And then like Tressa's whole story is like he travels the world and like learns about herself. Really, she traveled the world in 4 chapters. Really, like it doesn't. It feels so rushed for what she accomplished. Give me one more chapter. I think it would have done better. Hanitz, I don't think needs another chapter. Ophelia's probably not. Alphin's nah.
Matthias should have been introduced in like chapter 1 too.
Matthias was trash. That was Ophelia's villain. But other than that, I think they wasted like their good storytelling on 2 characters, and then just didn't focus on the rest of them.
Okay.
Which whatever.
There are 2 characters that have better storylines than others, but
the rest of them are average. So I'm not saying they're bad. They're just you've probably seen or the theme done better, is what I'm saying.
Are you going to talk about how they all connect?
My mouth's kind of dry right now.
Okay.
So probably not.
Do you want me to talk about it? Or are you just going to...
Hold on. So we already talked about end game credits. And actually, yeah, I'm pretty much done. The only last thing I have to complain about it, but to recap on the stories, add one more chapter for some of them, or just flesh out their villains a little more, and that's fix them. That's how you go from an average to like good. And I rate this game as like a 7 or 8 out of 10. This game could have easily been like a 10 out of 10.
It could have been a 10 if the game design was better.
Game design was better, and some of these stories were just fleshed out a little bit more. It was so on the money, they had it, and they just didn't capitalize it. The last thing I'll say about this game, which is bad, are the in-game translations, because it is from Japan, so it gets translated over here. and a lot of the items and a lot of the abilities do not translate correctly. So, for example, there is one sword that you get from one of Ulbricht's bosses. You get it, and you're like, oh shit, this has really good stats.
Werner's sword?
Werner's sword has a really good stats. It gives you like plus crit. It gives you like really good attack, and that's it. That's all it says about it. Okay, so I equip it. I go and fight some mobs, and I notice Ulbricht's missing a lot. Like he's missing like 50% of his attack.
Because it always crits.
And I'm like, this is whack. So I'm like, why is this? Is this like a glitch? So I look up like message boards and stuff to see. I'm like, Warner's Blade glitch, but it's not a glitch. It's just it was never translated. In Japan, it states that the blade will only hit if it crits. So
I didn't know the Japanese.
That's wow, nice.
Wow.
So it only hits if it crits, but whenever it does hit, it is guaranteed to be a crit.
Because the localization just says it crits every time it hits.
Yeah.
Which is not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It is not the same thing.
It low-key implies it's going to miss a lot, but it doesn't tell you that.
So the Japanese version will tell you that. It will tell you it's basically trash. This one does not. And it is not the only thing that has bad translations.
Transfer runes, they'll teach seduction.
So Primrose's ultimate ability, or whatever you want to call it, Seal Thiege's seduction says it affects all spells. It says it affects spells that affect foes.
Yep.
And her main thing is a dancer. So I look at the ability, and I'm like, well, if her ability only affects foes, then it doesn't affect my buffs for my characters. But it does.
It makes sense because she's a dancer, but the translation didn't say that.
That's why I thought her ability was so booty, because the translation is so bad. You could just be missing out on major abilities that your characters have, because you read it and you're like, oh, I guess it doesn't do this, and then never try it because what you're reading makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, so I can't use it on myself, so you're not even gonna bother to try, because why would they lie to you?
It's not even like Square. This is Square Enix. They've done so many English translations. I don't understand.
The English translations are, for the most part, good, except for when they don't explain what your abilities or weapons do, which can be detrimental sometimes.
Yeah.
So how do you fix that? Get fucking better translators. I don't know. Get your shit together.
It's Square.
Yeah, this isn't like someone else.
Indie. Yeah.
So I mean, overall, the game is really good. Overall, I think you just need to work on the redundancy of your classes. Get the redundancy of some of these bosses. You want to avoid gimmicky strategies that just beat every single boss, otherwise they're not fun. And you want to work on making your stories, just give your stories a little more oomph, just to get them over being average, because some of them were just because Laron would just tap A endlessly for Hanitz. That's how it was with the end of Therion.
I couldn't do it.
Therion, I was just I don't want to listen to it. I did something else while I tapped A until we got to the boss. Or I just skipped it completely. I was like, I know what's gonna happen, blah blah blah. Give me
I didn't skip, I just press A, and if I didn't read the whole thing, oh well.
Yeah.
I read everyone's story.
I
liked all the characters.
I couldn't do it with Therion. I couldn't do it, just like he couldn't do it with Hanit. It was difficult. I didn't care. That's the problem. But
did you care they had no reason to travel together?
Kind of, but not really. Some of
it's
them
not a major problem.
Some of them were more than others. Tressa's is established that she hates thieves, but that she travels with Therion. What?
She makes snide comments in the little banter they have.
She does.
Yeah. Yo, you know what? They should do something about the optional conversations. I don't know. Make it. There should be more of that, but not optional. You know.
Well, if you go into the tavern, you can usually, if you go into the tavern of that city, you can catch up on all the banter you didn't get Like, you don't need them in your party.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I guess that's fine. Okay.
So, and I mean, taverns are usually where you like gossip and shit. So, I mean, that made sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I don't think it needs to be required. I think optional.
Yeah. I take that back. Okay.
So,
I just like wanted something more, like, more camaraderie. I guess that wasn't optional. You know. I guess this is kind of a nitpick. I guess.
To do Fire Emblem, have support conversations.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know how you would fix that.
I don't think it was something to be fixed. I think it was unique for them, and I think it was good the way they did it.
Okay.
They just have a bunch of like little shit that they need to work on, like things that just must have flown over their head, or they didn't have ideas for, or they just didn't have time for something. There's so many little things that could have bumped this from an 8 to a 10, but there's so many little things that it's so much to complain about. Like,
honestly,
are really bad.
It would be a 7 for me, but like the soundtrack is so phenomenal that I have to boost it up to an 8.
The music is phenomenal. Like, if you want to listen to the soundtrack by itself, that's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. It was kind of a mess, but
I thought that was really good, honestly.
There's not a lot to fix. Like, even if you don't fix everything else, if you fix one thing, that being the starter unit lock, the game is like a 9 out of 10, because the starter unit lock creates so many other problems.
Yeah.
So that is like, if I could have one thing fixed right now, it would be that thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. Are we running over time?
Yes, we're like 20 minutes in.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, my biggest issue was the premise that the main chapters are really easy and then the side content's really hard.
I didn't feel that
Difficulty spike.
Sure. Yeah, it was very. Are you just talking about for the final boss, or just some of the? Well, some of the optional bosses.
Mainly
really
just the wolf is the only one that's like hard.
Yeah, the wolf's hard.
Well, if not, if you sidestep it.
But like, you just go from the chapters which are free. You know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so everyone had their say. Are we done with this now?
Is Jake still here?
I have no
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I think it's time to go into our funny news topics real quick here. I've been here the whole time. What are you talking about? All right.
I wouldn't know that.
Okay, so gotta recoup my brain here for a second. All right. So GameSpot put out an article this week that's become a little bit infamous. It seems unassuming at first. The PlayStation 5 will use solid-state drives. Here's why that's important. Now imagine somebody trying to explain to you why SSDs are important in game consoles who doesn't know what an SSD is whatsoever.
Is that what they do in this?
Yes.
That is exactly... You don't have to imagine it. Steve Watts has diligently proven that he knows nothing about storage in general.
What does he say? I'm not reading that.
So, okay, first of all, this article that I'm showing on screen right now is not the original article. This has been updated. So I will start by looking at the original article, which you can find on the Internet Archive Wayback Machine. So, okay, so Sony, yada yada yada. They unveiled the new PlayStation. It has an SSD. That's fine. Except the first thing that they say is it will be going from a standard optical hard drive to a customized solid-state drive.
What in God's name is an optical drive?
So, an optical hard drive is not something that exists, or if
Wait,
it does
what?
exist, is not in game consoles.
What is an optical hard drive?
How do you do that?
He just made up words.
He also says that twice in the article. This is not a mistake. In fact,
Optical is not a made-up word.
in fact, he says optical hard drives have been used throughout console history. Which also, by the way, isn't true.
What?
So there's a few important things to know here. One, optical hard drives, not a thing. He's talking about mechanical hard drives, or magnetic hard drives, as some may call them. One, the earlier consoles did not have those. They actually had a form of solid-state storage. You didn't really start seeing hard drives in consoles until the PlayStation 3 and beyond
PS3
era.
360.
Yeah, the PS3 360 were the first ones to have it. If this person who wrote this article could use their brain for a second and remember that we used to use memory cards for consoles, for storage, for things, which, I don't know if you knew this, aren't mechanical. Anyway.
They're not?
They're definitely not optical.
It's not a real term.
So, but in all fairness, those are not SSDs necessarily. Those are either SD or NAND flash, which isn't necessarily exactly the same as SSDs, though they're similar. They're both solid-state storage.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
solid-state
so
drive.
okay. Article continues. Yada yada yada. Reduced load times. You got that right.
Yeah, you got that right.
Now, okay, the lack of moving parts in a solid-state drive also generally means less intense need for cooling.
No!
It gets even better. Current console owners know that particularly hardware-intensive parts of games can result in the fans spinning up at a high speed, making for distracting whirring sound. Okay, so, for those who don't know, there are indeed fans in your consoles, and they do indeed spin up faster when the console gets hotter during intense moments. I can tell you, with absolute 100% certainty, your CPU and GPU provide phenomenally more heat than your hard drive. It's also important to note that during intense parts of your games, your hard drive is not getting hit very hard. Your hard drive gets hit hard when you're loading things
does he
on
ever
loading
say anything
screens.
about load times?
Yeah,
He does. That's the only thing he gets right in this article.
So he got something right. It's not a zero.
And the only time when he talks about the load times, he's actually quoting
Another article.
Sony's article.
Yeah, the Wired one.
Maybe he should do that more.
Yeah, and he said in the article that saying that likely the SSD will require less cooling and therefore reduce fan noise. So this is insane and just so incredibly incorrect. Like, it is a ridiculous claim to make that the fans on the PlayStation 5 will need to spin up less due to the lack of optical hard drive, sorry.
Optical hard drive.
Like, okay, a quick lesson on thermodynamics. I don't even know why I'm bothering saying this. I'm speaking to you guys all know this probably at least some degree. But okay, even if this guy believed that mechanical hard drives just spewed heat into the system, because you know what, they generate heat. Okay, so most hard drives use about 10 to 15 watts of power, which means that at a maximum they can contribute 10 to 15 watts of heat into the system. It turns out the CPU and the GPU combined on most consoles have a TDP, as it's called, which is basically the maximum wattage of somewhere in the area of 120 to 150 watts. As in 10 times greater than that of the hard drive. Also, the hard drive spends most of its time doing nothing in games. Like, when you first load an area, it gets hit pretty hard, and then it spends most of its time idle. Because guess what? Constantly pulling things from the hard drive during gameplay would be really slow and make the game unplayable. The game loads stuff from the hard drive, dumps it into RAM, and that's that. like, yeah. Anyway, guy knows nothing. So they updated the article. They no longer say optical hard drive, so they fixed that. They still leave all the stuff about claiming that SSDs will make the system quieter.
They had to have someone that would have called them out, right? Like, how did they?
The comment section is a mess of people just being like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And also, I forgot to mention this before. To try to explain SSDs advantages to the layman, they said the difference is similar to the one between portable storage like CDs versus thumb drives, and there's a good reason that one has all but replaced the other for most people. That comparison is nonsense.
That makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. It has nothing. They have. Never mind. Okay. Well, I'm done. That's my rant about that. And our last article of the night. Kotaku UK accuses Nintendo and Persona 5 for disability slur in one of their songs.
You want me to go on a rant about this?
Listen,
okay.
Kotaku's racist. That's all there is to it. I don't understand this.
Okay, so
the song's literally been out for like 3 years.
It's been out since 2016.
Did they actually listen to this and be like, "Wow, no one else ever thought this before. Let's publish an article about it." I don't understand.
They wanted clicks, right? Like, we can all agree to that, right?
This is.
That's the only way that makes sense.
Okay, so we should explain this first before we talk about it.
In the article, they also take a good chunk of the article to explain why the word retarded might be considered an inflammatory word.
So, okay, so what Kotaku is talking about, they're talking about the song Wake Up, Get Out There, which is the opening song to Persona 5. It's recently come back in the conversation because Joker got added into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Okay, so apparently someone told this author, Laura Kate Dell, or she heard it or whatever. There's discrepancies in the article and between that article and the apology. There's an ad lib section in Wake Up, Get Out There where the singer Lynn, if you're she misconstrued the singer say the word retarded.
Yep.
But obviously, first of all, that made no sense in the context of the song to say the word retarded there.
Yeah.
Right?
It would just it seems that the main consensus is that the English lyric is retort it.
Or retardando or whatever. Yeah,
which both make more sense. And also, it's also important to note that the singer of this song is a native Japanese speaker.
Yeah. She's not a native English speaker, which means some of the words she says in English, it isn't going to sound right to native English speakers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happens.
It's so bad. And number 3, why would they even the way they published the article? It was it was a definite the title said Persona 5 song has a disability slur in the lyric, and then in the article they're like, oh, it appears that the song has a lyric. So why would they make the title that with a definite this song has this lyric?
I think you know why.
Clicks. They wanted clicks. It's clickbait. They're deliberately spewing false information to get clicks. You should not support Kotaku.
Yeah. Also, by the way, they released an apology. Said that this actually made me a little angry. Yeah. They released an apology. It was pretty weak. But also, not only did not take down the article, but they said, it's because we're owning up to our mistake. But they also did not change the title of the article and claimed that they've edited the article. However, it might take a few days to show up because of how their systems are.
Not only that, but they didn't
horse
the article.
Shit. That they
didn't
no
delete the article.
No. That is all 100% bullshit.
You can even I'll even believe them. You know what? They had backed up servers. Sure, it's it's really suspicious. It's suspect, but whatever. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't delete the article because they were like, oh, what's the point of not deleting it because it's the internet. Everyone's going to see it anyway. Like, what? You delete it because you're deliberately spewing false information. You know?
Yeah, as a major
that's
publication.
what they said?
That's what they said.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what they said.
Huh?
And the apology, yes.
Yeah. Also, like, even if somehow the stuff they said about their servers is true, doesn't that seem like wildly irresponsible for a news publication to have a system like that?
Yeah, it does.
That prevents that, makes it impossible. And also, it's horseshit. I showed this to Julian, but I like went into their articles and looked, and they have numerous articles that they live update with real-time events. So they're fucking lying. They literally do this all the time. They make changes to titles. They make changes to articles. They have numerous articles that are like, oh, we'll update this later today when we have more information, and they update them. It was actually a fucking lie for no reason.
It's so ludicrous. It's funny. Like,
what is that?
you have to take them. They think we're fools. Like what?
Yeah. No, they were trying to stir up controversy over nothing. I don't understand.
Use AdBlock when you visit Kotaku. That's all I have to say. That's absurd.
Yeah, don't visit Kotaku. How about? At least Kotaku UK.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, who cares about Kotaku UK outside of the UK? I'm assuming.
Did you hear that they tried to silence the author too? Like the author went on Twitter and she was like, "Oh, it's not my fault that like the article got published. It's like my editor really wanted to publish this."
Okay, what?
Yeah.
You wrote the article.
Yeah, that's true. She is like to blame for that. Like, you know. But like the editor is also to blame for that, for publishing it.
So, by the way, they have actually changed the title.
Appears to include disability slur. Updated.
Appears to include updated. That's it.
It doesn't say does not include. After they got confirmation. Speaking of which, they published this article without getting confirmation from Nintendo or Sega or Atlas first. They just published it with definite. And they were definite, at least in the title. It said that it included a disability slur. That's you don't do that with journalism, you know. You make sure your facts are correct.
Also, for some their latest update says we published a retraction to the article. You should probably read that and skip this. Delete the fucking article, Kotaku.
Delete the article.
Or, and this is crazy, because they might say, well, what if people linked to this article and then they'll get a 404 instead? See, there's this amazing thing. Ready?
Go ahead.
So you can do this thing on the internet called, like link forwarding, where one link it's amazing. Multiple links can point to one thing. It's nuts. Websites do this all the time. It's called redirecting.
Crazy.
This article could have been redirected to the apology. So effectively, the new title of the article, or they could have just changed the original article to be called "We Screwed Up with That Persona Lyric," and forget that the original. Anyway, whatever.
Oh.
It's so frustrating. Anyway, that's all we got for you tonight, guys. Sorry for the show going way over time.
It was worth it.
Sure. All right. Shout out to our sponsors this week:
Kotaku
UK,
Chojimagu,
and Square Enix. Appreciate the sponsorship. That's all we've got for you guys tonight. Have yourselves a good night, and buy yourself Persona 5 and Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I promise you it will not offend you even if you're disabled. Have a good night.